Hey everybody, it's Captain Murphy. I'm going to cover what I've got going so far using the CryEngine and kind of what I'm trying to accomplish here. I was originally trying to use the vehicle properties, like making it drive, using a propeller, things like that. And it actually occurred to me that it might be easier just to actually calculate how the vessel would move if wind was blowing on it, whether or not the sails are up, have it just do a basic look, and that way we've got actual realism versus a pseudo-realism using the vehicle to drive itself around. So what I've done is I've just applied a basic wind. It's an actual object inside Cry. You can tell what direction the wind's going to go based off of a vector in an X, Y, and Z, so you can actually tell which direction you want it to go, even vertically. And what I've done is I've taken that same thing and just using a flow graph, not really using any real scripting, just a flow graph inside a CryEngine. I've done a application to the entity of the albans here, which I've grouped together what Widori has made. This is a really nice model, by the way. And I've edited the sails to have a little more gravity to them so that they actually hang a little better, but they also respond to the wind really well. So what happens is when you're looking at this, if you're actually going to look at how the wind reacts to it, you can see how the sails actually will billow out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the wind speed down to 5, and you'll watch the sails actually will begin to fall off. And you can see like there's little sections where they'll move and they'll actually touch other objects. So when they push forward, you can see it actually runs into the lines and kind of gets pushes against some of them here. You can see a little ridge and some of it there it kind of goes through. But the greater the wind speed, the more billowing, and of course the lower the wind speed, the less billowing you're going to get until all the way down to nothing. Now the movement calculation I'm doing on the hull is actually very minimalistic right now. All I want to do is see whether or not it would be smooth. There's no calculation of velocity based on how the vessel is receiving the wind, so right now what I'm just doing is a basic in the flow graph. What I'm going to do is move that into a script and try to make it so that we can feed it a parameter based off of how efficient this vessel is. Maybe we can break it up into 15, 20 degree radians off of the compass rose, so that way it knows how efficient this vessel is and how close it gets into the wind that it begins to fall off. We could even probably make it into an algorithm that it could determine the efficiency of the vessel on broad reach or just on a reach or a downwind. So we can make it do all these different calculations using the scripting rather than letting it have to do it all statically defined. We'll see how it handles when there's 20 or 30 of these vessels out there doing the same calculations, and it might show whether or not we can do this. But again, we're going to go ahead and bump the wind up. You can see the sails are responding. We're going to have to modify how these are going to respond, because when you change the wind, like right now I'm doing it just directly off of the stern. If we adjust it so we've also got one off of the port side, you'll see that I'm just pushing the boat straight sideways. There is no real calculation being done again. But you can see that the sails will respond in kind, and that one there wraps around the mast because they didn't actually have it on the correct side. So we might be able to adjust this based on some kind of a choice. If you're the captain, you can pick which side you want, etc. But anyway, that's further down the road. But for right now, this is what I've got so far. And you can see that I've got it currently being applied to just this model, but not the other model. So this is just to see whether or not it could be applied independently to keep our calculations low. And it looks like this model is going to be sitting static, whereas this one's actually, you can see it's kind of clipping right along right now. And of course, right now the velocity is just based on 1 meter a second. I don't have it looking at the wind speeds yet. I've got some of that written, but I think it'd be more efficient in a script. So anyway, this is what I've dug up in the last couple of hours, and I'll see what else I can come up with before the night's out, and hopefully get you guys updated then. Thanks.